Hey guys, welcome to Film Lab Society. I'm Quincy Perkins, and in today's course, we are going to be talking about how to get investors for your indie film. This is my Filmmakers No Bullshit Roadmap to raising money in the real world. I'm going to take you through the different buckets of money, and this course is specifically looking a little bit more at local money, local investors. This is something that all filmmakers want. They want someone else's money to make their film come true, and nobody teaches you sometimes, how to actually get it. So today I'm going to give you the exact roadmap. I'm going to show you so that you walk away knowing exactly how to raise your film budget. Who this is for and why should you be listening to me? Because I've personally done this many times. I've raised money for multiple films, feature films, feature documentaries, short films, docu-series, branded content. I've run a real production company. I've worked with many production companies. I've worked with high-level organizations like Hard Rock International, National Geographic, Adidas, ABC, NBC, NHK, and many others. And here in the Film Lab Society, what I'm trying to do is really help filmmakers stop guessing. I'm trying to give you the tools so that you can raise money from different organizations or private equity or certain individuals. This isn't fantasy, this is the real world. This is local, boots on the ground investor strategy. So let's get started here. This is the investing blueprint, film investing 101. There's in all of the world, there are really only three kinds of film investors. There are business investors. These are ROI focused, non-emotional. They are looking at your pitch and how you are going to make them money. There are art investors. This is the second type. This is prestige, legacy, meaning these are people who want to get involved because you're making a film that is about something, that has a voice, that you are looking at a certain theme or a idea that they are passionate about. And then there's three, what I like to call the pity investors. This is the aunt, the uncle, the family member that believes in you. These are the parents, these are the family friends. These are people that want to see you succeed and believe in your film. And your money is going to come from many different sources, and this is a very important one, especially on the independent filmmaking side, anything under 100,000. The core truth here is that your film is high risk. This is an emotionally based business, and investors are investing in you more than they are your script. This pitch isn't your screenplay. The pitch is your confidence, your clarity, your timeline, and your career. And that's what your pitch is going to be consisting of. So let's get into option one. This is the money is local principle. Your filming language is that the money for your movie is not in Hollywood, it's in your hometown. These are local people that may know you from a project. You may have shot a film, a commercial for a local doctor, and that is the money that you're going to help raise for your film. So I'm going to go through the different types of local money pools. This is wealth that lives in your community. This is our dentists, orthodontists, chiropractors, real estate guys, restaurant owners, tech bros, which there are a lot of here in Miami, successful bar owners, franchise operators, plastic surgeons, you name it. These are people that love cool stories about themselves or things that they know about or are fascinated by. They love being associated with movies. These are people that want to be on the red carpet. This is about the glitz and glam. Right? These are people that believe in you, but also want to be part of filmmaking, of movie making. They want to see what it's like. Let's go down who has money in your community. Okay, let's make this practical. Categories of likely investors. These are doctors, specialists, dermatologists, dentists. You have lawyers, real estate developers, restaurant and bar owners, boutique business owners like salons, spas, private wealth managers, entrepreneurs who sold their company, these possibly retired people, and crypto guys. That's if they survived. I put the note there. Here in Miami, we have quite a few, and they're interested in investing in films. I want you to do in this course some homework as well. And every Monday, starting in December, we're going to have an accountability class as well. I'm going to have 5 Q&As and Zoom meetings throughout the week here at the Film Lab Society. And on Mondays, we're going to be doing kind of accountability. What is your plan for this week? What are small wins that you can get under your belt? And the following Monday, we're going to see if you completed those. The homework for this course is I want you to start a list of 10 people that you may already know in your community that fit into these categories: doctors, lawyers, real estate developers. Start with the people that you have the most personal connection with, the people that you know on a first name basis, people that may be friends with family, people that you may have done a commercial for before. You may have done a real estate film for a real estate developer. And I want you to create a list of 10 people with the most sort of person that you're comfortable with at the top of that list, and start to develop that list. And it can be more and it can be less, that's fine. But these are local community members that you can reach out to and identify that they may have $10,000 or more to invest in a film. That may be sort of what you want to look at as your cutoff. If you're doing a short film, something that you can create for $5,000 or $10,000, then that list may change a little bit. These are people that can afford that amount of money, or $1,000 to put towards it. But start that list, write down who you know, and let's get started here. Let's go into why they invest, the psychology, what motivates investors. These are really the categories that matter most. There's status. These are people that want an executive producer credit on the film. They want to be able to say that they invested in a film, and they want to talk about that film. They want to talk about the premiere, how it went, and what it's about. Start a conversation that way. They also want to have the status of at their local dinners and things like that. They want to be able to talk about a fun project that they're working on. This also fits into the narrative. They want a story to tell at that dinner. So you want to give them a good story. You want to identify investors that may be interested in this exact story that you're telling. I was doing a film that was about some kids in Peru. And so I identified investors that were interested in international stories about very specific, unique, odd stories that they could relate to their friends in one sentence or two sentences, or over the course of a dinner. There's also investors in the next category that want access. They want to be part of movie making. They want the glitz and glam. This is something that all filmmakers, or a lot of filmmakers at least, love about filmmaking as well. And there's no shame in the game. They want to be on sets. They want to go to premieres. They want to meet actors. They want to be involved in the process of making a film. They're interested in, they probably like watching Hollywood films, and they want to see if they can do it. They want to see, visit sets and see how it's made. The next category is portfolio diversification. These are people that are a little bit more interested in the ROI and the money-making side of filmmaking. They may have a portfolio of investments with certain small startup companies. They may be already investing in some movies as well, and they may be looking at sort of a high-risk, high-reward situation and taking a chance on you because they believe that your film might get out there and make some money, or make a splash at least. The next category is supporting the arts. These are people that like you. They want to empower you. These are people that mainly may be hanging out around art galleries or art organizations. We have several here where I live in Hollywood, Florida, which is the Broward Center for the Arts. These are people that like their name on plaques. These are people that want to support the arts. They've got money, private equity to spend and donate, and they're looking at opportunities around their community to support artists, and that's where you fit in. Then there's also the creative involvement investors. These are investors that want to feel like they're part of the production world, not only be on set, but they want to know more maybe about cameras. They want to look at screenwriting. I had an investor once that is a author. He didn't know how to make a film, but he had some money, so he invested in one of my short films, and he got involved in sort of the screenplay aspect of this. He helped write the screenplay, and through that he learned how to write more screenplays, and now he's adapting his own novels into screenplays and trying to sell them to Hollywood as well. Let's talk about what scares investors, and these investors in particular. No matter what part they are, what category they fit into, whether it's status, narrative, access, nobody likes an unclear timeline. They don't like filmmakers that come to them and say, I've got this idea, but I don't know when I'm going to do it. They're not really interested in that. They also don't like filmmakers that don't understand business. Whether or not they think that they're going to make money back from this or not, they may just be supporting you because they like you, but they want to know that you understand business, that you understand the business side of the industry. And that's what Film Lab Society is good for. Here you'll be able to learn a lot more about the business side of filmmaking. I'm going to spend a lot less time in Film Lab Society talking about what cameras to use, how to light scenes, although we will be having cinematographers join us in Q&As and directors, set designers, gaffers, but we're really focused here at the Film Lab Society on the business side, pre-production, raising money, spending that money during the budget, during the filming, and then post-production especially, how to sell your film, how to make connections in the film industry. What also scares investors is that you don't have proof of competence. It's really hard to sell an investor on making a film if you haven't made films before. One good way to overcome this is to get out there with your iPhone and start shooting some scenes. Team up with some other filmmakers, get on set, but have some sort of, show reel, have some sort of proof that you know what you're doing when it comes to making the film. Certain investors are going to be scared if you don't have a plan for distribution, if you don't know what you're going to do with this film at the end of it. Some may be happy for you just to say, I want to have a premiere here in my local town and show it at the local movie theater and pack it out and have a party afterwards, and they may be happy with that. Other investors are going to want to see that you have a plan for distribution. Now, this can be as simple also as saying, here are the film festivals that I want to go to. Here's how I plan to make this $10,000 back. Or you may go as in-depth as having ideas for actual distribution companies and getting sales agents involved. And we're going to go through that whole side of the filmmaking process in a different course. But I just want to give you the heads up, when you're talking to especially local investors, they're going to want to see that you have some sort of plan on what you're going to do with this film afterwards. And the no exit strategy. This is another thing that scares investors. They want to know that what makes this film a success. They want to know for you, if you screen this just locally once at your local movie theater and you have 200 people show up and you think that that's success, be honest with them. Be like, that's what I'm aiming for, and after that is done, I'm moving on to the next project. And you may also want to tell them what those next projects are. That's not a bad thing to go to investors with, is what's called a slate of films. So having different ideas in mind can show an investor that you're serious about your career and that you want to take this to the next level, and that they're helping you sort of as a stepping stone for one short film to maybe to get to your feature. The takeaway here is that investors aren't scared of losing money, but they're scared of looking stupid. I cannot emphasize this enough. Yes, there are production companies, production funds that are scared of losing money. That's what they run their business on. But they don't want to look stupid. So investors don't want to invest in a movie and then be talking about it as you're shooting it, and then it comes to post-production in the editing room or going out to screen it and it crumbles. They want to be able to show their friends and or their wife or whoever it is that they were successful in bringing this film to life, no matter what the distribution is on it. So let's talk about building your package now. These investors, what are they going to want to see? How do you get them hooked? This is something that I spent years developing. I had some luck in my early career, which is a big part of this whole thing, but it's also about being prepared. And let's go over that now. So building your package. This is the minimum that you need. And this is the part that stops most filmmakers. They have the idea, maybe they can talk about it well, but they need to start building out a package. And this just helps close the deal and get people hooked on your idea. You need a one-page synopsis. So a lot of people come to me and they say, oh my God, you're a filmmaker. I've got a great idea. And I always tell them, put it down on a page. I would say 99% of people that I've told, put your idea down in just one page and send it to me, 99% do not do it. Only about 1% have told me the idea of a story, something that they care about, a theme, an idea that they want to make, whether it's a docuseries or a feature film, and they don't even do that. They don't even put a one-page synopsis together. So start there. Uh, even if you don't have a script yet, it is critical that you have a one-page synopsis. This is just what your film is about. It can include, who's involved, things like that. But the one-page synopsis is really what your film is about. Sell them on the idea and read it back to yourself. Think, would this sell me? If I had money and someone came up to me, is this exciting enough that I would want to give some money towards it? So your budget as well. This is number 2, the budget top sheet. So this isn't a full budget. This is not breaking down how much you're going to be spending on set decoration, little ornaments that you're going to put up on the set or anything like that. This is sort of a top sheet. So your budget is, what it's going to take to develop this. Do you need $2,000 to take the time off work in order to develop the script and the pre-production on this? Do you need to pay a producer to come on board and help you? This is also the production budget as well. This is things like, we're going to need $20,000 for the filming of this. That may include your camera rental package. That will include the people that you need to hire and actors. But you don't need to list every single actor and what you're paying each of them. These are just big sort of categories. And then, of course, your post-production budget, how much it's going to cost to edit this, what it's going to cost to do audio on it, or VFX, or a color grade. But these are overall big budgets. But you're going to want to have some sort of ballpark idea when you go to investors. Local investors, like I said, are a lot less concerned with, are you spending $5 on, a prop for a certain scene? They want to know, okay, it's going to cost $10,000 for pre-production, $10,000 for production, and $10,000 for post-production. That's the type of budget that I'm talking about here. You're also going to want a deck, and this is where a lot of filmmakers balk. They don't get this done, and I can't tell you how critical this is. The deck is like your one-page synopsis, is your story. It's also your vision, why you are telling this story. I'm going to get into the vision a lot more in our screenwriting courses that I'm going to be uploading here in the next few days. But your vision is why you are telling this story and why you're telling this story differently. I'm part of a storytelling community called True Story Miami. We're a group of professional storytellers that actually get up on stage. It's like the Moth at NPR, and we've got 5 to 7 minutes to tell a story. And I tell people that one of the most brilliant stories I've ever heard in my life was actually a guy talking about leaving his house and going to buy bread one day. So the story may be that a guy leaves his house to go get bread, but the vision and the way that this storyteller told that story, the way he explained it, the humor he used, and his sort of take on buying bread was so different than anything I've ever heard before, that vision made me want to give him money to make a film on that story that he told. That's your vision. It's your unique perspective on the story that you're telling. Mood boards. This is great recently because we've had all of these new websites pop up where you can grab frames from other movies. And that's what mood boards really are. It's to give your investor an idea of what it's going to look like, what it's going to sound like. Your mood board can include music. Your mood board can be an email as well. It can be, here's some ideas on what I want this film to look like. Next on that deck is your cast wish list. So these may be casts that you already have involved or casts that you want to get involved. And this is big for investors. If you're asking them to come in for $100,000 because you want this specific actor to be involved, that actor should be there and you should be selling them. So it shouldn't just be listing their name and credits, but also something a lot of filmmakers miss out on their deck is talking about why that actor. So yes, you may list that they've been in, Pulp Fiction and Shawshank Redemption or whatever it is, but you also want to list why this actor to you makes sense. So you can include a couple sentences in there saying, I really like the way he performed this certain role, and I think in this movie that will come to life as well. But really talk about it. Or maybe you may be going with an actor that's always done like comedy and you want to include him in your horror movie. explain that in the deck. Explain why you think they might be good for them. Included in this deck is the schedule. So this is what your schedule is, not just the day of filming, but your overall schedule. So you're planning to write, the script or bring the producers on. The script may already be done, and you may need 2 weeks to do pre-production, and then you want to shoot over 5 days. But giving a schedule to this investor is what you're going to need in this deck. ROI case studies. These are similar films. This is something that your investor may or may not be interested in. Again, if you are going to an uncle that has always supported you in any endeavor that you've taken in, you don't need ROI case studies. These are more for investors that are looking to make money back. They're looking at where your film fits in within the industry and what other films that are similar to yours have done. This may be really important when it comes to short films, because short films are something that a lot of investors don't understand. You may have already done this, and an investor comes up to you and says, I don't understand short films. How do you make money on these? The truth is, the hard truth is that a lot of short films don't make money. They're calling cards for filmmakers to get out there to film festivals, to do networking. They may show that you have a very interesting voice, and they may be a calling card to bigger projects. And that's something just to talk with your investor about, that they know that you're using this as a calling card to make films that hopefully will make an ROI. But on the, in majority of times, the short films, you're not going to have ROI case studies for. But you may want to show other films that are like it, just to give your investor a sense of what it's going to look like. Let's talk about company structure now. This is really important. This is important for short films and for bigger films. Creating an LLC. Why is that important? An LLC is very important to save you, the filmmaker, from any liabilities that may come as a result of the film. I've been involved with several different films that have had lawsuits involved. This is a very common thing with films, especially when you're making them about a sensitive subject. And you want to protect yourself from that. And that's what an LLC allows you to do. An LLC allows you to keep the assets of the film separate from your personal bank account. And that's critical. It's something that's very easy to do, and you can do within 1 day. But always set up an LLC for your specific film. This is not an LLC for a company. This is an LLC for a film. And I'm going to get into that a lot more in a different course. Right now, we're just talking about what investors are going to want to see, but the LLC is important to put on your list. Investment units. Structuring how the investor is going to invest in this. You want to have different levels for investors. You don't want to pitch everybody at $1,000 level when you're trying to raise $100,000. You're going to have some investors that want to come in for $1,000, and you need to be upfront with them about what they're going to get back on that, or if they're investing knowing that they're not going to see that money again. And you may want to have levels that are $100,000, $50,000, $20,000, and you need to figure out what those investment units are. That's what we call them, investment units. We're going to go into this a little bit more later, but this is something to keep in mind when you're pitching investors, that there will be different levels and different units that they will have when they invest. Let's talk about the distribution plan just for a second here. And I hit on it a little bit earlier, but you're going to need you want a realistic, no fantasy, examples of what your plan is with this film. Again, it is not an issue if you are upfront with people about saying, I'm just going to take this and do a premiere at my local artsy-fartsy cinema. I've done that many times, and I've had some of the best moments ever doing that. But you need to have a plan if that's what your goal is, or if you want to get into big film festivals like Sundance or Toronto, if you want to have a small theatrical run, if you want to run here locally in the state of Florida or in New Jersey or wherever you may be, and you want to run at 10 theaters, but put your expectations down on paper, put these goals down, and then make a plan on how you're going to do that. Asking people, and the Film Lab Society is a great place. Over these next months, we're going to be talking with theatrical owners. We're going to be looking at different theatrical organizations that you can reach out to, and sales agents and distributors as well, obviously, that will give you an idea of what a theatrical run looks like. And then, of course, we're in the world of online platforms, excuse me. So, do you want to make this movie and show it on YouTube? That is a very, good way to do the short films these days. People watch a lot of short films, whether it be Vimeo, YouTube. I know that there are other places like HBO has an online platform as well for short films rather. But also seeing, do you want to take your film to Netflix? There is a path for that. I'm going to be going over how to sell a film to Netflix in one of these upcoming courses. So stay tuned for that. But in general, when you're putting this deck together for your investor, make sure that you have some sort of plan of what you're going to do with this movie. The takeaway here is if you can't explain your film in 7 pages or less, you're not ready to pitch. I find that 7 pages over all the years that I've been doing pitches with investors, 7 pages is too much almost. I like to keep mine around 5, and then if they are interested, if you get them with 5 pages, they're going to ask for more detailed information, especially when it comes to budgets or distribution plans. But try to keep your pitch to at most 5 to 7 pages. That's where investors are really going to have the attention span to keep with you. All right, let's talk about how to approach local investors. The script and steps here. These are sort of your script to say. Now this may change a lot. I have a story of a friend of my father's who was a well-known local millionaire. This is in Key West, Florida. And I approached him in a very different way that I would have approached like a lawyer or doctor before. He knew my father well, and my father sort of set up the meeting. So this script wasn't perfect for him. This is more of scripting for maybe a little bit closer to like cold calls, doctors that maybe you've gone into their office, they've helped you out, dentist that has cleaned your teeth before, someone that but you're approaching for the first time with this. So I like to put it up into sort of 3 categories. You may get them after the first, you may get them after the second or the third, or you may keep going. But I like these sort of approaches. This is what's worked for me before. Something like, hey, I'm putting together an independent film and I thought of you immediately because I think you'd love this story and be great energy to have involved. Can I show you this pitch? Having them get involved is a big part of this. They want to hear those words a lot of times. You don't want to go to them and say, hey, I've got this great story and I need some money. They're going to think of themselves as a piggy bank and not as a co-collaborator on this. So make sure you involve them in the pitch as well. The second touch is setting up a meeting. You can say things like, look, this goal is simple here. I'm trying to raise 75,000 in units of 10,000 each. You're going to get an investment executive producer credit. You're going to get VIP access, and you're going to get back into ownership, or whatever your deal is that you may want to create with them. But you want to sort of be able to pitch it in one sentence like that. What are you looking for? What is the amount? And what are they going to get? All in one sentence. Third touch, this is a follow-up, just checking in to see if you had any questions about being part of the project. This is, once you've gone to them the first couple times, this is clear, clean, non-desperate way of following up with them. And this is what you're going to want to do with each of that list of 10 that I asked you to put together earlier. How to hook a local investor. And this goes down to the categories that they're involved in, right? So what type of investor are they? You're going to need to do a little bit of research on that as well. See what other projects they've been involved with. You may want to check your local newspaper and see what art community they're getting involved in. You want to may go to the local like art center and see what names are on the plaque. I have done that before. We had an independent cinema in Key West, Florida that was being built, and when the investors plaque went up, I took a look at it and I put some names down, people that I thought I knew, that I could go to invest in some of my films. And it became a reality, and some of them off that plaque became investors in my film. But here's how to hook. You want to give them concrete hooks. You want to invite them to a table read. This is a great way. When you have some actors involved with the script, I almost always suggest doing a table read before you shoot a film, no matter if it's a short film or a feature, doing a table read is invaluable to you as a screenwriter, for you to hear the words coming off the page and be able to visualize in your mind what this film is going to look like. So invite them to that. Offer them a cameo. This works so much that I'm embarrassed to say it. 99% of the time, an investor may want to just be in the film. They may want to, sometimes they want a line to say, sometimes they want to be the background at a diner. They want to be sitting and the camera passes by them quickly and they can point at the screen with their wife sitting next to them and say, hey, that's me. You would be amazed at how much this helps. So offer a cameo to them. Show them early mood footage. Sit down with them. So a lot of investors will also like if you set up a meeting with them at their own house. They may have a screening room or just a TV where you can say, hey, I'd love to come over to your place, or invite them to your place and show them some of the stuff that you've done in the past, or maybe you've put together like a little AI mood board, but showing them and letting them see visually what your film is going to look like is also invaluable. Bring them to a location scout. This makes them feel really involved. Tell them that you're planning on shooting a certain place and you'd like for them to come so they can see your vision of how you're going to use this location in the film. Share with them your festival plan. Explain to them. Sometimes you may say, oh, I'd like to go to Telluride or Toronto with this film, and they have no idea what that means. So explain to them what the film festivals are like. Invite them to the film festivals if you're going to be going to them or applying to them. Tell them that you'd love to have them at Toronto, and then explain to them what happens at a film festival and what can happen with their film exactly at the film festival. Introduce them to a cinematographer or the cast. A lot of investors, they'll get hooked if they see a certain cast member is involved and they've always wanted to meet this actor. That's something to try to set up with the actor. See if they'll do a dinner with your investor. Or if the investor can meet them on set and get a selfie with them. This works as well. I've had an investor whose daughter was into a certain hip hop artist, and I was on set, and the hip hop artist was acting in this movie, and he wanted to come on there and take a photo with his daughter with the hip hop artist, and he invested in it because of that. Also, this is another thing that I've seen work a lot. I haven't done this myself, but offer them a scene to name. Doctors love this, especially getting them involved in the screenwriting process. You may or may not want to do this. There are some cons to this. Getting investors who don't know anything about movie making involved in the screenplay side of things can also be a danger as well. This has happened to me before. I had some investors that were interested in sort of the screenwriting side of things and didn't make really great notes on the script. And you have to kind of, play that sort of line of thank you for investing and being part of this, but the script is, my vision and what I see for this. But an investor needs to see that the movie in their mind before they invest. They really do. They need to see at least what the movie is going to look like, and then they need to envision what their role in it is going to be. So that's really how you hook them. You show them already how they are part of the process before they have given you any money. And if you make them feel involved already before they've given money, even better, because they're going to be heavily and possibly emotionally invested in this. Talking about money without being weird. This is a very important thing that a lot of filmmakers ask about, and they screw up this part as well. But be normal. I have a very cringe story I'm going to tell you right now about when I was early on in my filmmaking career. I had the opportunity to go to a premiere of a big movie where I met the director who I was a huge fan of. And I was so nervous, not prepared, and I had the opportunity to stand there with him for like 1 minute, and I could have said anything, and I blurted out, hey, where did you find money for this film? It was not a great question to ask at a premiere. It was about as cringy as possible. I will never forget that moment. And it makes me remember that there is a weird way to talk about money, and there's a right way to talk about money, and it's not that hard. I'm hopeful that you guys will not have a cringe moment, and that's what I'm trying to teach you here. But really just being normal, being confident, really having passion about your project, and knowing when is the right time to talk about certain things. I've found that money should really come very late in on the conversation. Building a friendship with investors is the most important. A lot of times I even tell filmmakers that I've worked with that have come to me and asked me to produce their film that you should really take like 3 meetings with the investor before you even mention money. Now that changes depending on what type of investor you're going to, but if you're going to local investors like a doctor, like a lawyer, like someone you know, you really want to have several meetings with them. Go get lunch with them. Talk movies about them. Ask them what are great movies that you've seen recently. But get them talking, get them involved in your filmmaking career. And that will build your confidence. Knowing that you don't have to ask for the money in the first 5 minutes, like I did, will help you, be normal in front of them. Never say, I know it's hard to make money in film. Uh, though this might be true, do not bring this up. This is something you want to be honest with your investors, uh, but you don't want to sabotage your own film before you get started. So you do want to explain to them what your plan is, but your plan should not be including failure. You should not be including the fact that you may fail with this film. Your plan should be that you are going to succeed. You're going to take it, whether it's the local cinema for one showing, whether it's a film festival run, or whether it's distribution on Netflix or with a studio. But never say, I know it's hard to make money in film. Most of them already know. Never apologize for your budget too. This is not a negotiation either. So when you come to them with your budget, they want to know that you've done your homework and that is the minimum that you think you can make this for. In your budget, you may have the 10% over contingency fee to give yourself some padding, but you want to be pretty close to on the money with where your budget's at. And don't apologize. I made a short film, very short film, 7 minutes, for $150,000. Most people make feature films with that. I made a 7-minute short film with that, and not once did I apologize for it, and we did really well with that short film. So when you go into these meetings, make sure that your budget is strong, and make sure that your confidence is built. Here's a line that I wrote in here, and again, this PDF is going to be online as well with this class, so you can go back over all of these notes at any time that you'd like to. But you can say something like the budget's $150,000. We're offering 50% of the back end in $15,000 units, and you're going to get paid back before any of us on the filmmaking side touch a dollar of this. So, this is just an example. Again, the way you break down the finances on your film may be different, but you're never going to say, "Oh, I know it's a short film. It's $150,000, and I know that's a lot of money." And I wish I could shoot it for sure. No, you want to go in there and say, this is a $150,000 short film that we are making, and this is why I'm passionate about it, and this is why it's going to cost that much. So let's get into what investors actually get. This is equity structure. So this is explaining to investors, how they're going to get involved and what they're going to get on the back end, or what they're going to get during the making of the film. You may want to give them an executive producer credit. Again, executive producers, these are the money people. These also may be, an executive producer may also be someone that says to you, hey, I can't give you any money, but I know this actor personally and I can make a phone call for you. And if they get that actor involved with your film, you may want to give them an executive producer credit. You may also want to give them a back-end percentage. This means that when the film gets sold or makes money, that they're getting a percentage on that back end. A lot of investors will want to recoup their money. A lot of investors will not. But for those that are looking to make their money back, you may want to come back to them with what percentage. So every $100 that comes back towards this movie, what percentage are they going to get? And that can be directly correlated with how much of the budget they're covering. You may want to give them first money out. So the first 100 that comes in, that goes directly to them, all of it, until they recoup. You will want to give them invites to all of your screenings, whether that's locally. You will want to invite them to all of the film festivals, whether they can make it or not. And make sure that, most film festivals will have extra tickets for you, for your investors, should they fly out to wherever your film festival is. Give them on-set access. Let them come on set, see how you're doing, and this is going to be a big part of why they're investing. We've talked about that before. Behind the scenes access as well. So this is those location scouts. This is in on the meetings where you're maybe you're doing a table read or a rehearsal with actors. Let them in on that if you want to, and if the actors are comfortable with it. But that's a great way to hook investors again. Also, tax write-offs. This is a very important thing. We're going to get into this a little bit more in the distribution course as well because it has to do with that. But understanding that there are ways to set up 501c3s, nonprofits, to make films with. It can depend on what your distribution plan is. It can depend on the theme or the story that you're telling. You may be connecting with another nonprofit to tell the documentary of someone who saves turtles. And these are things that the investors can actually take tax write-offs on. You can also team up with certain arts organizations as well. And that's why a lot of investors will be giving as well. And this is a really big pool to go into. If you have more questions about this too, feel free to reach out to me personally on this. This is something that I have a lot of experience with and can show you a roadmap for that as well. But yeah, make them feel like partners, not piggy banks. That's the takeaway here. Red flags and what not to do. Do not overpromise distribution. I see a lot of filmmakers doing this, saying, oh, you know, this film's going to go on Netflix. You may not even know how to do that yet. Do not overpromise your investors. Do not lie about cast attachments. Don't go in saying, oh, you know, Brad Pitt is involved in it. He read the screenplay and he's going to be in the film, when Brad Pitt doesn't even know who you are. You know, be honest with them about who you have in mind, possibly, but do not lie to them about cast attachments. Do not confuse them with long budgets. No investor wants to see what, maybe in the case of working with a production company or a production fund, they'll want to get down to the nitty gritty. But for the most part, do not confuse your investor and don't get them involved with it. They may start asking, well, why do you need $5 for this prop? You don't want those questions bogging you down before you shoot this film. So don't confuse them with long budgets. Don't include them in the conversations about the nitty gritty. Pitch with a one-pager. Go to them, you know, and show them this idea that you have and make sure that you're expressing the passionate why you are telling this story. Now, I want to be clear on something. You can say the reason I'm telling this story is because I want to further my film career. It may not because you are passionate about telling zombie movies, okay? Your passion may lie in the fact that you want to become a bigger filmmaker. You want to have the opportunity of bigger budgets, bigger films, bigger cast, and a lot of investors will back you on that. They too had a dream of that one day. You cannot pitch really until you get an LLC. I advise against this because those conversations as well, any paperwork that you sign with the investor, that LLC should already be created. And again, it takes minutes. So make sure you go on there and create an LLC for your film. Don't chase investors that you don't vibe with. Someone may have a lot of money and have given money to all sorts of organizations in your small town. Don't connect with them if you think that they're going to put a damper on your film. Like I said, I've worked with investors before that have gotten involved with the screenplay or had bad ideas themselves. You don't want those investors in the end. They will leave disappointed and you will leave disappointed. Finally, do not pitch people that don't have money. You're not here to traumatize yourself. Do not look at people who are investing $1,000 and expecting $50,000 in return. These are not good investors to go with. You know, getting investors involved that are willing to lose the money that they put in is where you should be going. Roadmap, first 30 days of raising film money. All right, so this is your homework. This is what you're going to be doing. You want to build your, again here, I said 12-page deck here on the PDF. I like to keep it at 5 to 7, but start with your 12-page deck, build out 12 pages, then cut it down to a really crisp, clean, professional 5 pages. Get it down to that. Form your LLC. Again, it takes minutes. It depends on the cost in different states, but it's very easy to create, and that will save you a lot of headache, and you will feel safe making the film the whole time. Create investment units. You know, divide up your budget into different levels. If you need help on this, again, say down in the comments that you're confused by this or you need more help on this, and I will reach out to you personally, and I will make sure that you understand what investment units are. There are also a lot of great YouTube videos on this as well. And I'll be going into investment units a lot later on in more specifics as we break down a certain film that we're going to make here in the Film Lab Society as well. Make a list of 20 names locally, 10 names locally, people, 5 names locally that you may know that you think could be possible investors. I want you to reach out to 10 of them and do your soft ask. Tell them about the film that you're making. Tell them about the project that you're working on. Again, the script does not need to be done for you to pitch investors, but go out to them with the idea and get some feedback, see how it goes. Schedule 5 meetings, close with 1 to 2 of those. If you do that, you are in the top echelon 1% of filmmakers. You know, there have been on one project I went to, I think 62 investors before we got 1 investor. It was a very niche story, so it was understood that that may be the case. But again, you're going to have to go out to a lot of people just to get 1 involved. Let's talk about the final push here, call to action. The big takeaway is that filmmaking is very hard. There's a great Orson Welles quote that, you know, 10% of making a film is making the film, the other 90% is raising money. And he was right about that. 90% of filmmaking sometimes can be just raising the money. Once you learn this skill though, the ability to get people to write you checks just makes you unstoppable. It will allow you to make as many short films as you want. You know, I've made over 30 in my career by getting certain investors involved. And it also helps you once you climb the ranks of investors. You will be maybe starting with local investors, but then you will be going on to meetings with Netflix. It is the same exact things that happen in those boardrooms. When you sit down in Los Angeles with UTA or ICM or CAA or whoever it may be, and you have meetings with these big film investors, you will be using the exact same pitch decks, the exact same lingo, talking with them as well to get them excited about your vision on this story. Like I said, if you want more detailed breakdowns, resources, templates, I'm going to be posting these along with other resources on this course in the Google Docs. Keep following along with the Film Lab Society because we'll be going a lot more into different types of investors. And that's what I want to close off this video with is the 4 mega buckets of all film money. Today we've really been focused on local investors, but investment money comes from really 4 areas, and I'd like to go over that quickly with you here. I'm going to be making courses on the other 3. Like I said, today was more about local investors, doctors, chiropractors that may be interested in helping your film get some legs. But there are other ways, and I'll be creating other courses on this. Bucket 1 is the private money. This is what I was talking with you about, and this is the foundation of independent filmmaking. Private money means actual humans writing checks. These are local dentists, real estate guys, angel investors, retirees, family offices, high net worth individuals that may be wanting to get involved with a project like yours. Maybe it's a story that they too want to tell and bring to the screen. That's private money. This is the money that comes the fastest because it's emotional. These are people that will write you a check at that dinner because they see your vision and your passion and they believe in you. And they want to be part of something cool as well. A lot of them will write you a check right there because you said red carpet to them and they saw that in their mind and they want to be on the red carpet with you. And here's the truth nobody tells filmmakers. Most first features, I was at a Sundance lab when they were explaining 98% of first features are funded almost entirely, meaning 100% of their budget came from private money, private equity. That includes Sundance films. But if you're working on your first film or second film or third film and it's all coming from private money, that's where you should be. If you mastered that bucket too, knowing how to pitch, structure investment units, present your deck, you're already ahead of 90% of filmmakers. Bucket 2, this is institutional money. This is the more formal side of the business. I'm going to create a course just on this as well, but this is private equity funds, venture capital, gap lenders, bridge lenders, banks with entertainment divisions, and co-production partners. This money is not emotional. They want collateral, sales estimates, cast attachments, tax incentives, and a real plan. This is money also that usually, when I say usually, this means 80% of the time with independent filmmaking comes in the middle of a film's financing, not at the beginning. So they like to see momentum. They like to see that people are, involved with this. They also like to see communities. They like to see that you've built out like a Facebook page where people are already following this. They like to see a Kickstarter that has been funded. They like to see a escrow account for this LLC that already has money in it. So they like to see that you've raised 30 to 50%. And that's why this is called the gap, a lot of times gap lenders. These are people that are going to, the gap between what you've raised and what is going to fill out your budget. Bucket 3, this is industry money. So this is the holy grail that everyone dreams about. So this includes studios. This is many majors like A24, Neon, Blumhouse. These are streamers like Netflix, Amazon, Apple, international sales agents who advance the money to you, or broadcasters like BBC or NHK. This is where the real financing happens, and it's also the most competitive. As you grow up through your career as a filmmaker, these are the meetings that you're going to be having. And these are people that care about cast, the genre. Someone like Blumhouse is going to be a lot more focused on whether you have a horror script or not. They're going to want to know about marketability. How easy is it to market this film? The industry money has marketing budgets, and so they're going to want to know, is this something that they can put some marketing money into and see a return on? They're going to want to look at your track record. How many films you've made and whether those films have made money or not. They're going to want to look at your festival strategy. They're also probably going to want to have some input on that as well. If you go with someone like A24 and they give you money to make your film, they're going to be involved in your festival strategy as well, and they're going to be making calls to Sundance. And then they want to see a pre-sales potential. So they want to see what areas that they can sell to as well. They want to see, is this film something that they can sell prior to to distributors prior to it even going to film festivals. You may have a cast member like Brad Pitt involved, and they will get they'll want to see that so that they can see that they can sell to different regions and territories. But this, again, rarely comes first. Again, you're going to want to be packaging this. You're going to want to be building momentum. And you need usually some agency support here in order to get industry money. What do I mean by agency support? You're going to be an agency behind you or an agent behind you that's helping you get into these meetings. These are usually, like I said, but once you're in, your projects level up fast. These are people that know how to make movies, and they'll make them happen quickly. Soft money. This is the hardest to build money around, a movie around, but it is a possibility. These are tax credits. These are state rebates, grants, foundations, crowdfunding, and nonprofit support. These are difficult. If you've ever run a Kickstarter, you know how difficult it is to raise money in this area. These are people that are not looking to recoup the money. These are grants or other people that are already involved with foundations, and this may fit your film. I've done films before that are environmentally conscious films, and we've had foundations that have the same purpose that our film did, that have funded us, and they just want to get the word out. There's also a lot of countries like Canada, the UK. You may be joining us here at the Film Lab Society from a different country. You may have different rebates there than what they offer you here in Florida. But looking at grants is a big thing. Sundance also has some grants available, and a lot of different film festivals have grants available to filmmakers. So look into those, do your research. In closing, how all of these work together. Here's the power move and the power knowledge to give across in this course. No film is ever financed from just one of these buckets. They're almost always financed by several different means. In the time, if you are a beginning filmmaker, most always it's going to be private equity, but you may also be getting some nonprofit support. You may be getting some soft money from a friend that says, I can't give you $1,000, but I can give you my house that you can shoot this film in. That's soft money. And you're going to be wanting to combine all these. So you're not going to be looking for investors that are just giving you $1,000, $100,000, whatever it may be. But you're looking for investors, people that are going to give you an antique car to use in a scene. Those are investors, and you're going to want to come up with ways to involve them in the movie as well. A typical indie film looks like this. It's 40% private money, 20% soft money from tax incentives, 20% industry money from a sales agent, 20% institutional money to close that gap. On a micro budget film, like I said before, it's going to be usually 90% private money, 10% crowdfunding. Crowdfunding, what I mean by that, may be people that say, look, I can give you these vintage dresses that I have to use in your period piece movie. That's a way of crowdfunding. But your job as a filmmaker is to really understand this puzzle and decide which combination of these fits your film the best. Once you see the industry through these 4 buckets that I've lined out here, raising money feels, it stops feeling impossible. It starts feeling like a real opportunity out there, and you're not going to be scared to do so. In the end, let me know down in the comments below which bucket you'd like to know more about here, and I'm going to create a video specifically on that. And let me know in the projects where you are currently with your project. And if you have investors coming on right now, maybe you have a problem with an investor, I'd like for myself and for the community to reach out to you and help you raise the money that you need for your film. Thanks again, and stay tuned for the next courses coming up. Thanks.